Hey, it's Kim, and I'm back for another week of 10-minute tips for your relationships. 10 minutes. So, today I want to get into something a little different. Today, I want to talk about how to have hard conversations. Yes. You know, when we're in a relationship with people, every once in a while we have to have a hard conversation. Well, we don't always agree, or maybe something's going on with that person that you know you need to bring it to their attention. So, hard conversations are a must. However, how do you feel in your body when you have to have a hard conversation with someone? What are you thinking in your mind when you know you need to go to this person and have this difficult conversation with them? I mean, what's going on? Are you feeling anxiety? Is there some sense of intimidation? Are you nervous? I mean, there's a lot that goes on inside of us when we know that we're about to approach a person that we love and we care for, but with some really hard stuff. So today I want to talk about how to have a hard conversation. And I have a few tips today that will kind of make it a little easier. Now, let's get started. So, the first thing I want to talk about is the why, right? Why are we having this conversation? And why is it so hard to have it? Yes, why is it so hard? So, these are my tips for the why. So, the first thing I want you to think about is what do you want out of this conversation? I mean, when you are going to have a hard conversation with a person that you really care about, I mean, you don't really have to care about, but just, being human, you want to consider that person's feelings. I mean, you don't want to just go in and just, hurt them just because. So you want to think about what do I want out of this conversation? What am I trying to achieve with this conversation with this person? And then number two is my motivation. What is my motivation? What's driving me? Is it to get some type of uh, positive outcome? Am I trying to build something? Am I trying to grow the relationship? Or check your motives. Is it negative? Am I trying to hurt the person? Am I trying to humiliate them? I mean, is this a punitive move? So you have to check your motives. Number three, will this conversation strengthen our relationship? Will it build it? Will it strengthen it? Will it make the relationship better? I mean, typically people they feel most closer to you when they know that you're going to be honest with them, not honest to hurt them or make them feel bad, but when even if you have some hard things to discuss, they know that you have their best interest at heart. So is this going to strengthen the relationship? Number four, why am I afraid? Why am I afraid to have this conversation? I mean, is this fear that I have, is it realistic? And what is it that I'm afraid of? Am I afraid that the person won't receive me? Am I afraid that I'm going to lose a good friend? Am I afraid I'm going to lose my lover, my child, whomever I'm having this hard conversation with? Am I afraid of something? What is it? And is this fear realistic? Ask yourself that. Okay. Number five, look at the realistic consequences of this conversation. Yeah, because when you strike out to have a hard conversation with someone, there may be some consequences. Now, the consequence may be positive, that you grow closer, that person receives you and does better. But then there may be some consequences that happen that you have no control over. But I mean, if it's going to better the person, then we just may have to suffer those consequences. And then sometimes we may lose a friendship because we needed to have a hard conversation and share some information. Maybe that person has been doing something that's been hurtful for a long time. And you getting up the confidence to say, hey, we need to sit down and we need to talk. So maybe the consequence is that you lose that friendship, you lose that relationship. But if it's going to better you, it's going to better them, then hey, maybe that's a relationship that needed to come to an end. Number 6, what are you assuming? What are your assumptions about this situation that you're bringing up? Maybe your assumptions are wrong. Maybe you got it all wrong. And then maybe they can help straighten out, what you've been thinking. Maybe it's all miscommunication. Maybe. Now we're going to talk about the how, the approach. Yes, how do I go into this conversation, this hard conversation with this person that I love and that I care about? Yeah, you need to examine the how. You need to set up, some strategies and do some things. Prepare yourself to approach this person because you want to do it right. Number 1, never approach a hard conversation when you are angry. That's the worst thing you can do because you know what? You're probably going to say some things that you may regret. Now, I'm not saying that you're not going to say things that you don't mean, but maybe you don't mean to say them in that context. So don't engage when you're angry. Number 2, change your mindset. Go in with a different way of thinking. Don't go in defensive, suspicious, or with your guards up. Yeah, just change your mindset. Change how you're thinking about having this conversation with this person. Don't assume the worst. Change your thinking. Number 3, be realistically optimistic. Realistically, okay? Don't go in with your rose-colored glasses and not really see what's going on. Be optimistic, be hopeful, be positive, but be realistic in that. Number 4, be positive. Be positive. So when you approach the person, inform them, let them know, hey, I have something that I want to talk to you about. And it's a hard conversation, but trust me, it is not my intent to hurt you or make you feel bad. Keep it positive. Let this person know that you value them enough to even have this conversation. Number 5, start with why we're having this conversation. And start with you. Talk about you, where you are, what you're thinking and what you're feeling. Don't just go in, you pointing the finger, but start with you and accept some of the blame, accept some of the responsibility for whatever it is that's going on. Yes, start with you. Number 6, use appropriate language. Yes, don't go in cussing them out. Use appropriate language. That way you don't put the person on defense and then, you guys aren't rolling on the floor before the conversation gets going good. Use appropriate language, no name calling, and don't use accusatory tones. Appropriate language. And number 7, be calm. Take a deep breath. Just relax and just go into the moment. Be present. Don't worry. Don't overthink it. Be calm. And so the last thing I want to talk about in this having a hard conversation or how to have a hard conversation is while you're in there are some things that you need to keep in mind. Yes. Number 1 is let the person express themselves completely. Yes, once you bring up whatever the situation is and you give them the floor to talk, let them express themselves. Don't interrupt them. Don't cut them off. But let them just share with you or let you know what's going on with them or give you an explanation. So don't interrupt and make sure that you're listening to understand. Number two, use your active listening skills because I know you have them. I know you know how to actively listen, and then regurgitate some of the things that they said so that they can know that you really hear them and understand what they're saying. Use those skills. That's going to help you when you're trying to have a hard conversation with someone that you really love and care about. Number three, make sure that that person knows that you understand them. Make sure that they know that you acknowledge them and that you value them. Yes, people want to be acknowledged and they need to be valued. They need to feel valuable to you, and maybe they'll receive you better knowing that they are valuable to you. Number four, clarify and explain. Don't leave them wondering what you're thinking or how you're feeling. Yes, clarify and explain. Be assertive, but don't be aggressive with it. Number five, never assume that this person is going to agree with what you're saying. They just may not agree. They may not see it your way. So just don't make that assumption. Don't have those expectations that you're going to have this conversation and this person's going to just receive you with open arms. It may take a while. You guys may have to come back to it. You may have to revisit the situation, table it, go away, come back after you've thought about some things and talk about it again. But never assume that they're just going to agree with you right off the bat. Number six, last but not least, this is the last thing I want you to do, and it's very important. Keep your advice to yourself unless that person asks you for it. Now, if they ask you for your advice at the end of this conversation, hey, by any means, let them have it. But if they don't ask you what they should do, then you keep your advice to yourself. Yes, hard conversations are just that. They're hard. They're difficult. They cause anxiety. Sometimes we get intimidated. But you know what? They're necessary. These are my 10-minute tips. You take care and